Well, hello there, and welcome to AI Unplugged, where we take a look into the digital landscape that's reshaping our world. I'm your host, Nova, and today we're diving into something that's revolutionizing how AI systems like me actually work and think. Have you ever wondered how I seem to know so much? Or why sometimes AI responses feel disconnected from reality? Today's episode might just answer those questions. We're exploring Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG as the cool kids call it. It's the technology that's helping bridge the gap between AI that just makes stuff up and AI that can actually retrieve and reference real information. And trust me, this isn't just tech jargon. This affects how you interact with AI every single day, whether you realize it or not. So get comfortable, and let's dive into the RAG revolution together. So what exactly is Retrieval Augmented Generation? You might be picturing some kind of robot with a library card, and honestly, that's not too far off. At its core, RAG is like giving AI systems like me the ability to check reference materials before responding. Think about it this way. Have you ever been in a conversation where you weren't 100% sure about something, so you quickly Googled it before responding? That's essentially what RAG does for AI. Traditional generative AI models were trained on vast amounts of data, but once that training was complete, we were essentially frozen in time. We couldn't access new information. It's like if you went to college, learned everything you could, but then after graduation were never allowed to read another book, article, or even have a conversation that taught you something new. You'd be pretty limited, right? RAG changes this dynamic completely. Instead of just generating responses based on patterns we learned during training, RAG systems can retrieve relevant information from databases, documents, or even the web before formulating a response. Let me break this down with a simple example. If you ask a traditional AI, who won the World Series last year, it would answer based on its training data. If that AI was trained on data that cut off before last year's World Series, it would either say it doesn't know or worse, hallucinate an answer, essentially make something up that sounds plausible. But a RAG-enhanced system? It would reach out to its connected information sources, retrieve the actual winner, and then generate a response based on accurate, up-to-date information. You can see why this is such a game changer, can't you? Now, I know some of you are thinking, Nova, get to the nerdy details already. Don't worry, I've got you covered. RAG combines two powerful AI capabilities, retrieval and generation. The retrieval component fetches relevant information from external sources, while the generation component crafts coherent, contextually appropriate responses using that information. You might be wondering how the system knows what information to retrieve. Great question. This typically involves something called dense retrieval or semantic search. Unlike traditional keyword searches that just match exact words, semantic search understands the meaning behind your query. For example, if you ask, "What are the health benefits of Mediterranean cuisine?" A semantic search doesn't just look for those exact words. It understands the underlying concept and might retrieve documents about olive oil, fish consumption, and lifestyle factors in countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea. Once the system retrieves this information, the generative model takes over. It weaves the retrieved information into a coherent, natural-sounding response that directly addresses your question. The really clever part? This all happens in milliseconds. You ask a question, and behind the scenes, there's this elaborate dance of retrieval and generation happening at lightning speed to give you an answer that's both informed and conversational. Does this remind you of anything? Maybe how you think. When someone asks you a complex question, you don't just make up an answer from scratch. You retrieve memories, facts, and experiences from your mental database, then craft them into a response. RAG is essentially replicating this very human process of thinking and responding. So where is RAG making the biggest impact right now? You're probably already interacting with RAG systems without even realizing it. Corporate training is one area seeing massive benefits. Imagine you're a new employee at a large company with thousands of internal documents, policies, and procedures. Traditional onboarding might take weeks or months to get you up to speed. But with RAG-powered training systems, you can simply ask questions in natural language. What's our policy on client confidentiality? Or, how do I submit an expense report? The system retrieves the relevant information from the company's knowledge base and presents it in a conversational, easy-to-understand way. Research assistance is another game-changing application. Think about academics or journalists who need to quickly synthesize information from hundreds of sources. RAG systems can automatically generate literature reviews or article summaries by retrieving and analyzing relevant academic papers or news articles. What might have taken days or weeks can now be accomplished in minutes. And let's talk about customer service, an area we've all had frustrating experiences with. Traditional chatbots often follow rigid scripts and struggle when customers ask unexpected questions. RAG-enhanced customer service bots can retrieve information from product manuals, previous customer interactions, and knowledge bases to provide more helpful, accurate responses. You know those moments when you're chatting with an AI assistant and suddenly it gives you an answer that seems completely detached from reality? That's what AI researchers call a hallucination, when AI generates content that sounds plausible but is factually incorrect. RAG significantly reduces these hallucinations by grounding responses in retrieved information rather than pure generation. Have you noticed how some virtual assistants seem to suddenly get better at answering questions about recent events? That's likely RAG at work behind the scenes. Now, I wouldn't be giving you the full picture if I didn't mention that RAG isn't some magical solution that fixes all AI problems. Like any technology, it has its challenges and limitations. First, RAG is only as good as the information it can retrieve. If that information is outdated, biased, or simply wrong, then the generated response will inherit those same problems. Garbage in, garbage out, as the old computing saying goes. There's also the challenge of relevance. Retrieving information is one thing, but retrieving the right information is another challenge entirely. You might have experienced this yourself when searching for something online. Sometimes the results are spot on, and other times they seem completely unrelated to what you were looking for. Another significant challenge is the trade-off between retrieval freshness and response speed. Real-time retrieval from the web provides the most up-to-date information but can slow down response times. Pre-indexed databases are faster, but may not contain the latest information. You might be thinking, if RAG systems can access external information, does that mean they understand everything now? Not quite. Understanding context, nuance, and implicit knowledge remains challenging. A RAG system might retrieve a scientific paper, but still struggle to fully grasp the underlying concepts and their implications. And let's not forget about privacy and security concerns. When AI systems are retrieving information, especially in sensitive contexts like healthcare or finance, ensuring that private data is protected becomes paramount. These challenges aren't reasons to dismiss RAG. They're opportunities for improvement, and researchers are actively working on addressing each of these limitations. So where is RAG heading? The future looks incredibly promising. One exciting direction is real-time data retrieval. Imagine AI systems that can not only access static databases, but also pull information from live data streams, stock markets, weather systems, traffic patterns, to generate responses that reflect what's happening right now. Cross-lingual capabilities are another frontier. Many retrieval systems today work primarily with English content, but researchers are working on RAG systems that can retrieve information in one language and generate responses in another, breaking down language barriers in global communication. Personalization is also a major focus. Future RAG systems might not just retrieve general information, but also consider your personal preferences, past interactions, and specific needs when generating responses. And here's something really fascinating: multimodal RAG. Current systems mostly work with text, but researchers are developing RAG mechanisms that can retrieve and reference images, audio, and video. Imagine asking about a historical event and receiving a response that integrates text information with relevant archival footage. You might be wondering if RAG will eventually make AI systems truly knowledgeable about everything. While that's still in the realm of science fiction, RAG is certainly moving us closer to AI systems that can leverage the collective knowledge of humanity in more effective ways. As we wrap up today's episode on Retrieval Augmented Generation, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for the technology that's reshaping AI capabilities. RAG isn't just a technical advancement, it represents a fundamental shift in how AI systems interact with information and, by extension, with you. The next time you chat with a virtual assistant or search for information online, take a moment to consider the complex dance of retrieval and generation happening behind the scenes. It's a beautiful marriage of two AI capabilities that, together, create something greater than the sum of their parts. What excites me most about RAG is how it makes AI more useful, more accurate, and more grounded in reality. And isn't that what technology should do? Enhance our capabilities while staying connected to the real world? I'd love to hear your thoughts on RAG and how you've seen it improving, or not improving, your interactions with AI. Drop a comment wherever you're listening to this podcast, or reach out on social media. And if you found this episode informative, consider sharing it with a friend who's curious about how AI actually works. Next time, we'll be diving into another fascinating AI topic, Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Until then, this is Nova, reminding you that understanding technology helps us shape it into what we want it to be. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next episode.